finding and learning about living for God and living the Christian life? You think you can remember them all? It's not a matter of thou shall, and thou shall, and thou shall, and anything. No. Anytime we are fully surrendered in heart, and we start to pray and put God up front, you're going to find that even when you never know that you must be a cheerful giver, because the Bible says, when a need arises, or when because your heart is burdened for soul, you are going to naturally just give. And you didn't even read it yet, but you just have that compulsion to give because you know that it will help a soul. Without anybody telling you that you must be in ministry, because souls are precious. You're going to have that compunction once you're a praying saint of God to want to reach out to somebody that is lost and dying. And nobody don't have to tell you that. You want to share what you have. So that the key to Christian living, the key to walking in fellowship with Him, yes, we're reading the Bible and getting the things that must come. But the key, as the preacher said some time ago, relationship, but more than relationship, fellowship. And then, as Pastor Grizzle taught us years ago, there's an old song that says, this is a hard road to travel, mighty long way to go, hard road to travel. Me don't know where me come from, but since me not about to come about it hard to travel. No. Not hard. Things will be rough. Mountain may be steep. Trials are many. Shipwreck often. Hunger often. Pressure get lower. But Jesus is always on our side. And if we have Him, He giveth us the grace. He giveth more grace. And everything that comes, He gives grace for that particular situation. So it's not a hard road. I can understand when people say some things get rough, because it does. And I understand that. But don't make Christianity come in like a burden. It is not. It is not. And so dress back and find the altar again and make us pray and break through and start doing first things first. Praise God. So I had to say that. And having said that, we gave us some reasons for the judgment seat of Christ. I think we gave 4 of them. Reasons for the judgment seat of Christ. Give me one. First one. The believer must be? All right. And we won't even ask us to explain. I just want you to give me the heading. The believer must be vindicated. 2. Because we know that we have to stand before Him and give an account of ourselves, it pushes us as believers to be faithful. And that is a fact. You know, when I was going through this thing, I relook at every single thing that I do. I relook at it again. Everything that I do. It's like sometimes I say, God, I wish I was invisible. That I can get the work done and nobody don't even have to see me. I wish, because we have to be careful. As we go through, we're going to find out about wood that speaks about self. Sometimes it's easy for self to push its ugly head up. And we feel that if it's not me, it's not going to happen. and we feel important. Like God can't do without us. God can't do without any one of us. In fact, he was doing well before he made us. Before Adam came, he was doing fine. The sons of God were there, which were the angels. And before they were there, he was doing fine. When the angels came, they never add to God's beauty. When the angels came, they didn't add to God's power. When Adam and Eve came, it didn't make God more mighty. He was lovely, sweet, mighty, sovereign before the angels sang. He was powerful, all-knowing, everything before we came. And our coming added nothing to him. Today, God is not more powerful than he was before the angels were. He can't get any more powerful. He's not any more beautiful tonight than he was trillions of years ago in eternity past. There is nothing that can happen to add to God's beauty. So God made us and loves us and wants us. But God don't need us, that if we are not around, he can't continue to be God. But we need him. Because if he's not around, we dead. Because we live and move our entire being and living is tied up in his very existence. And we must never forget that. And so when we think about the fact that we are going to stand before the mighty one, I am sure it causes us to rethink how we treat one another. A question I'm going to ask in a little while. What exactly is God looking for from us as we prepare to stand before him? What will he be looking for? Or we just answer, oh. Because if it's that in us, some of us fly God through the gate. We can't lift up the crown or we get. Because we can't mix color good. Lord. If it was how we look, we fly gone through the gate. Because we fix up ourselves nice. If it was how, oh God bless me and he gave me this job and I work with the United States government and I'm based in Jamaica and I get paid in US dollars. Look how God, and if it was that. But it's none of those kind of things. In fact, the things that we give great weight to are the things that means nothing to God. The things that we run up and down and spend 90% of our time trying to achieve and get together. You know, it's a deception though. We mentioned it the other day. It is a deception. How can we as smart people, how can we as people that are able to reason give 90% and 95% of our time, our energy, our talent, our resources to things that stop and have no value when we reach at the casket? I watch and observe over the years that some folks are always in church until they get a job. And I'm telling you, wait till God bless them. And before they got the job and somebody blessed them with their money, they take a tithe out of it. Because when a man bless you with $1,000 that you didn't have, a tithe out of it is $100. And then take out the 100 and you might say, oh, what a faithful man. But $1,000 a little bit, $100 a little bit too. But make it turn 100,000. When him get the big job and he must take out 10,000, him say, well, God, we make you 10,000. But see me give you the job, like, yes, but I never expect so much money. And we want, and we beg God, give me a job with X month, but take out the 10th. 10,000, then what God I gonna do with that? God is a spirit, him no need, but him need the $100 though. And I cannot understand how, but I'm saying it is a deception, how we spend 95% of our time doing everything that ends the day you die. So we finally get the masters. We finally get the job. We finally get the house. And some of these things take 20 years, to acquire and accumulate and put together. We finally get the things. And when we get them together and have been spent all of our youth doing that, we now have more time. And guess what? We still don't move to give ourselves to doing more for God. We just same thing, same way. Brethren, and yet we know, don't we know, that if we die, we can't say, God, University of Technology, University of the West Indies, we can't. God, first class honors. God, accounting. It means nothing in heaven. We can't say, God, and flash out platinum visa. You know what platinum mean? Or black. MasterCard black. You're running in the millions, you have millions of credit on your card. You think you can go and say, look what I achieved in life. That don't have no value in heaven. It's only here, so. And I see folks somehow deceived, not realizing that all the energy and the effort and the time that we are putting into all of these things and giving nothing to kingdom business, we're not seeing that it is going against us. We can lose out big. And understand me, brethren, I am not for a moment advocating that we mustn't study. Because you know, me study. So why should I study until you don't study? That would be wrong. So I'm not telling us that. But I'm saying that if we study, we have to know that while we are doing the things to advance ourselves in this life, We must do what is necessary to advance ourselves even more in the life to come, because that is the life that really matters. And we always give God what is left. The Lord placed a message to preach. I repented because I never preached Sunday. Because I really was supposed to. Then I just said, I'm going to do it, Lord. You know, because the Lord, first things first. And I was supposed to preach, but I come in to do it. We always, we are learning now, but we tend to give him the worst of ourselves. You know, I have seen folks that we ask to attire themselves a certain way, resist. And I'm saying, we're asking you because it is required that we're modest. And we're just asking for modesty. We're not even telling you what color belt to wear. But just come up, put yourself together modestly. And folks, and then I have seen folks now go into a workplace, and the workplace say, fix yourself this way, organize yourself that way, because that is the standard of the job. And suppose you see the scenes. I said, my God, it look like you're in that place more than in here, because the people them just move quick and just fix up and look like Christian in the workplace. No question, no ask. Nobody don't make no fuss. Nobody don't ask the whole heap. I said, but how come? Brethren, beloved, I'm asking us, I'm saying it to us, let us understand who we are and what we are in. I am speaking to us on the assumption that we make it, because the judgment seat of Christ is going to be a place where we as Christians sit. Now, unsaved not going to be there. And if we stand there, we are not going to hell. So we're going to give an account. But as the Apostle John said, be careful that when he comes, we are confident and we are not ashamed at his appearing. And the Bible says everything that we have done, whether good or bad. And we're not talking before we get saved. We're simply talking about now that we are a Christian. What have I done? How have I conducted myself? What have I done with the resources that the Lord has given to me? How have I treated souls that come into the house of God? Brethren, you see, when one man comes at this altar, bawling out after God, and everybody doing everything else, we're outside working out the business plan. Because there's a time for everything, And you say, if you come and there is a soul at the altar, I can understand some folks have to leave for work, and some, no problem. But you see, when you have to just go to a corner and sit down and start to talk about the match, and start to talk about this, and start to conduct the business, and a soul is here hanging between heaven and hell, and we take it lightly, what we going to tell God? Say, in terms of how we treat with one that was desperate and needed help. Do you know that if we congregate together and start worship God together, God inhabits, dwell in the praises of his people? When we come together and start to sing and to worship and to glorify God, we are drawing the presence of God in a defined area. And those that are seeking for God get energy just by our being around and worshiping God. Oh, we're going to tell God that people are here desperate and crying and running for their lives and hanging in the balance. Some people that come to this altar